You told yourself you'd eat healthy today. Then something stressful happened. Maybe it was an email, a phone call, a difficult conversation, something that went wrong at work or at home. And within an hour, maybe less, you were standing in front of the fridge. Not because you were hungry, because something in you needed it. You've called yourself undisciplined, emotional, someone who can't control themselves around food. You've counted calories and broken the count. You've started diets and abandoned them. You've promised yourself that this time would be different, and then found yourself again eating something you didn't plan to eat after a day that was harder than expected. Nothing is wrong with you. You were built this way, and the reason goes back much further than you think. 200,000 years ago. A human under stress wasn't dealing with a difficult email. They were dealing with a predator, a rival group, a flood, a famine. Stress meant one thing: your life is in danger, and your body responded accordingly. It flooded your system with energy. It pushed you toward the highest calorie food available. It made you eat, and eat fast, because you might not get another chance. That program is still running right now in your body, in your brain. Every time life gets hard, your prehistoric survival system activates, and it sends you straight to the fridge. Not because you're weak, because you're still running 200,000-year-old software in a world that has completely changed around it. Most people believe stress eating is a willpower problem. The logic is simple. You know what you should eat. You just don't have the discipline to stick to it when things get hard. So the solution in this framework is obvious. More willpower, more discipline, more commitment to the plan. But if willpower were the answer, it would have worked by now. You've had the commitment. You've had the plan. You've had the genuine desire to change. And when stress hit, something else took over. Something older. Something faster. Something that doesn't negotiate with your conscious mind. Stress eating is not a character problem. It is a biological response. One that runs below the level of conscious decision-making, in systems so fast and so ancient that your willpower never even gets a chance to weigh in. By the time you realize you're reaching for the biscuits, your brain has already made the decision. The question isn't why you lack discipline. The question is, what exactly is happening in your body that overrides everything you consciously want? Because once you understand that, once you see the mechanism clearly, the whole problem looks completely different. It starts with cortisol. Think of cortisol as your body's emergency alarm, the chemical signal that says something is wrong. We need energy. We need it now. When you face a stressful situation, any stressful situation, your adrenal glands release cortisol into your bloodstream. Within minutes, your entire body shifts into survival mode. And in survival mode, your brain has one priority above all others: find calories. Not vegetables, not protein, not a balanced meal. High calorie, fast energy food. Sugar, fat. The kind of food that would have kept a prehistoric human alive long enough to outrun a predator or survive a famine. Because in the world your brain was designed for, stress always meant physical danger. Physical danger meant your body needed fuel immediately, urgently, in large quantities. So cortisol evolved to drive you toward exactly that. Here's what makes this so difficult to fight. Cortisol doesn't suggest you eat more. It overrides your normal hunger signals entirely. The mechanism that would usually tell you, "I'm full, stop eating," gets suppressed. The system that regulates how much you want becomes dysregulated. And your brain, flooded with cortisol, focuses on one thing: get more energy in. Even if you just ate, even if you're not physically hungry at all, the cortisol doesn't know that. It's running a 200,000-year-old program. It only knows stress is present, fuel is needed, eat now. But that's only the first layer, because there's a second mechanism that explains why stress eating feels so good and why it's so hard to stop once it starts. When you eat high-calorie food under stress, when you give your body the sugar and fat it's been signaling for, something happens in your brain. dopamine releases. Think of dopamine as your brain's reward signal, the chemical that says, "Good, you did the right thing, do it again." And here is the critical part. Dopamine, in this moment, partially suppresses cortisol. The stress signal quiets. The anxiety softens. The tension that was driving everything, for a moment, it eases. And your brain records this sequence. Stress happened, you ate, the stress decreased. That is a lesson your brain will not forget. This is how the stress eating loop forms. Not because food actually solves stress, it doesn't, but because for a brief window, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, your brain experienced stress, then food, then relief. And it concluded, food is the solution to stress. That moment in front of the fridge, that pull toward food that feels almost like it happens before you've decided anything, that's this loop activating. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It learned. It remembered. It is applying the lesson it has been taught by your own biology every time stress has sent you to the kitchen. And the third piece of this picture is perhaps the most important for understanding why ancient humans ate this way and why you still do. In the prehistoric world, stress was physical, and physical stress consumed enormous amounts of energy. Running from a predator burns calories. Fighting burns calories. Even the sustained vigilance of living in a dangerous environment burns calories constantly. So the link between stress and eating wasn't just logical, it was necessary. When stress came, food followed, because the body genuinely needed to replenish what it had spent surviving. But you are sitting at a desk. Your stress is an email, a deadline, a conversation you're dreading. Your body is burning no more calories than it would on a quiet afternoon. But your cortisol doesn't know that. It is still sending the same signal it has always sent. Stress is here. Danger is present. Eat everything you can find. Your prehistoric survival program? Running perfectly, doing exactly what it was built to do, in a world where the predator is now a notification on your phone. So here's the question. If cortisol is overriding your hunger signals, triggering cravings, and driving you toward the fridge before your conscious mind has even registered what's happening, how do you actually break the cycle? Not by trying harder to resist the food, not by counting calories more carefully or keeping a stricter plan, because the problem was never the food. The problem is cortisol. And the tip is this: when the stress craving hits, don't target the food. Target the cortisol first. Your cortisol system responds to one thing more reliably than anything else: physical movement. Not intense exercise, not a full workout, just movement, a 10-minute walk, standing up and stretching, going outside for a few minutes. Here is why this works biologically. Your cortisol system evolved in a world where stress always involved physical action: running, fighting, climbing, moving. Physical activity was the natural endpoint of the stress response. When the danger passed and you had moved through it, cortisol dropped. Your body still expects this. When you move, even gently, even briefly, your body registers the threat has been responded to. The emergency fuel has been used. The danger is passing. Cortisol begins to drop. And when cortisol drops, the craving changes. Not disappears completely, but softens, becomes manageable, gives your conscious mind a chance to actually participate in the decision. 10 minutes. That's the biological window between a cortisol-driven craving and a genuine choice. Move for 10 minutes first, then decide what you want to eat. You'll find that what you actually want, when cortisol isn't running the show, is very different from what it was sending you toward. Not because you suddenly have more willpower, because you gave your prehistoric brain the response it was looking for. You moved. The threat passed. The emergency is over. Now you can eat like it is. Let's come back to the beginning. Something stressful happened, and you found yourself at the fridge. Now you know exactly what was happening. Cortisol flooded your system, signaling danger, demanding fuel, overriding every hunger signal your body would normally use to regulate itself. Dopamine reinforced the pattern, teaching your brain that food is the solution to stress every time it provided even temporary relief. And beneath all of it, a 200,000-year-old survival program, running perfectly, doing its job in a world where the predator is now a calendar notification. You were never undisciplined. You were never weak. Your body was doing exactly what bodies were built to do when life gets hard. It was trying to keep you alive. The prehistoric human who didn't eat when stressed, who ignored the cortisol signal, who stayed disciplined and moderate in the face of genuine danger, that person didn't survive. You descend from the ones who ate, who responded to stress with urgency, who fueled up fast when the world became threatening. That instinct is in you because it worked. For a very long time, in a very different world, it worked. You don't have an eating problem. You have a survival system that hasn't been told the war is over. And now that you know what it's responding to, you can give it what it actually needs. That's built human. A new behavior decoded every week. See you next time.